everyone, today we're going to talk about a new palette review. I know I've been doing a lot of reviews lately, but like I always say, I think reviews are some of the most helpful videos. And I'm going to go ahead and link a whole playlist down below in case you want to see some other products I review. And if something that you want to see me talk about isn't there, go ahead and let me know, please. But today we're going to talk about the BH Cosmetics Galaxy Chic palette. Hippo is my assistant for today, as you can tell. So, this is a very inexpensive palette. I got it for like $12 on HauteLook. I think it usually sells for under $20. I don't know the exact price. I probably should know that. I'm sorry. I'll link it down below, though, unless you know. But BH Cosmetics is a very inexpensive brand. I would call it a drugstore price brand. I know you can't get it in the drugstore, but it's that price range. And this palette comes with 18 shadows. Now, I hope you can appreciate the massive size of this palette. It is giant, and these pans are huge. So, I don't have any MAC shadows, but this is a NYX Hot Pot, and it's 1.5 grams, which is the same as a MAC shadow. These shadows, oh wait, I read it somewhere, are over 2 grams a piece, almost 2 grams a piece. So they're bigger than a normal standard size shadow. They are huge, and they're all domed, and they're baked, which means that you can use them wet or dry. Now, I'm going to just do dry swatches for y'all today, but know that if you do wet, it's just going to become more intense, more metallic. Maybe I'll do a couple of wet swatches. Today, I am using this palette, and I did use the colors wet. So, let's get into some swatches. Oh, let's talk about packaging first. Sometimes, you know. I think it's a nice cardboard. It's very thick and durable. I wouldn't mind traveling with it. It is a larger palette, but I don't feel like they wasted space. One thing, and I talked about this when I did my Becca Jaclyn Hill review. I do feel like they kind of could have done a larger mirror. This is really thin, and when I look at it right now, I can either see I can see from here to here. So you can't see your whole face. You can definitely see your eyes really well, which I guess is kind of the point, and maybe it's trying to be cute. But I would have preferred a fuller palette. But I also think the packaging's cute. It's very Galaxy inspired and stuff, so I like it. And then you have your shadows, and they do all have kind of astronomical names, which I think is really cute. So let's just start swatching. I'm going to go ahead and take off my watch because I'm pretty sure we're going to need that space. First is the shade Sun, which is a pretty coppery shade. These are all decently pigmented. I would call them a medium pigmentation. They are a little powdery. I don't know if you can really tell, but they're slightly powdery. Next is the shade Jupiter, which is more of it's a red, but it's a very, I don't know, like an orangey red. And you can see that one needs to be built up a little bit more. I have used this in my crease, and I like that. Next is the shade Prometheus. This has some chunkier silver glitter. I didn't mention this, but these are all a shimmery metallic finish. But this shade does have, I think you can see that even on the finger swatch, some chunkier silver glitter, and it's like a cranberry reddy purple shade. It's coming off kind of brown as well. Then we have the shade Aphrodite, which is like a deep cranberry purple. It really is pretty similar. It's a little more red than Prometheus, and it doesn't have that silver glitter. Next is the shade Milky Way, which this one also has the chunkier silver glitter, and in the pan, it's marbleized. So I'll mention that from now on. Prometheus was also marbleized. So some of these are just kind of standard, and then some of them have some marbling in it. So Milky Way was marbleized. It's a light purple. It's really kind of a glitter bomb shade, you know what I mean? It's just a bunch of light purpley glitter. And then you have the shade Cosmic, which is a light purple as well, but it's more purpley, and it doesn't have the glitter. So it is slightly different. Next we have the shade Saturn, which is a yellow with some red veining in it. So it's a marble. And this one, you can't even see. It really just kind of shows up like a gold. It's right there. This lighting is not the best. I'm sorry, it's winter and it's like been rainy in Georgia, so you know, you work with what you got. Next is the shade Venus, which is an orange. That one's pretty nice. It does, they all do, like I said, they have like a medium pigmentation. I think they all need to be built up slightly. And again, if you use them wet, then you can get a more extreme look. This is the shade Meteor. Now this is a really light blue. It's marbleized, and it's got some silver glitter in it as well. Baby, you don't need this. And this is what I used on my inner corner today. So because it's marbleized, it's this shadow. It's marbleized and it's like almost half white, half blue, so you can just kind of concentrate on the white for an inner corner. It's also on my brow bone. And it's really similar to that shade Milky Way. It's kind of a light blue tinted glitter bomb shade. And then we have the shade Comet, which is like a slightly green tinted blue. Again, do you see, I mean, they're not like you can't see them at all, but they do need to be built up. Next we have the shade Earth, which is another one of those half dark blue, half white. So it really just comes off like a very light blue. It's more blue than Comet, and it doesn't have the chunky silver glitter in it. So you see how, but they are kind of similar. Then you have the shade Neptune, which is a deep blue. It's right there. Then we have our last row. You have Mercury, which is kind of weird. It's like gray and brown with white. Look at that. That's perfect. Did the sun go away? Thank you, sun. Look at that. Can you let's look at the swatches just one more time. Look at that. That's so nice. So we have the shade Mercury, which kind of just comes off as like a silvery taupe. That's not a very good swatching location, is it? It's really not. Oh, son, you were doing so good. And then we have the shade Mars, which is just a brown. If you want to get real technical, it's more of a warmer tone brown, but it's a brown. Then you have the shade Asteroid, which is what I actually have. I used it wet on my outer corner, and then I kind of put it in the crease, and I used Mercury to blend it out. And it's a deep brown, and it's got some blue veining in it. It's right there. But it doesn't really come through. Just started to rain, guys. Isn't that nice? It's one thing we need, it's rain. And it's slightly cooler tone than Mars, but not really. I mean, it's pretty much the same shade. Then you have the shade Electra, which is what is on my lid today. Again, it was used wet. It's a really pretty light blue. And it's, I don't know, it's not the same. So I swatched it up here. Oh, gosh, son, just go away. We don't need you right now. There it is. So you can see that we've got a lot of blues here. And swatching them side by side, they're not the exact same, but they're similar. Then you have the shade Moon, which is a gray. It's this one. It's almost got a little bit of purple in it. And last but not least, you have the shade Pluto, which is a dark gray. And again, I do think it's got a little bit of purple. It's right there. So, these are the shades. These are the bricks. Break it up, break it up, break it down. So I really like this palette. I think that the pigmentation is decent. I think the looks are nice. I think there's a lot of redundancy. Now, these three shades, they don't look the exact same. And I think that there's something that, and I do it too. I'm not saying it like, oh, you shouldn't. But like, when you look at dupes or dupe videos, you're like, oh, that's half a shade lighter. But on the eyes or on the cheeks or on the lips or whatever, when it's actually in use, these three pretty much form the same, do the same purpose. These four light blue shades, same purpose. These two browns, You know, there's not, it looks like, wow, look at all those colors. But swatched out, they kind of are the same. And a lot, like these shades, same. Even these ones that look really purple, when you swatch them, they're really more red. These two, same. And then there's a couple, this Milky Way and Earth shade. No, excuse me. Milky Way and Meteor. They're just glittery and kind of worthless. So I do like this palette. I do think for very inexpensive, it's not bad. However, I just think that there's a lot of redundancy, which is something that really bothers me with palettes. I think it was a great idea, and I think that you had 18 shades to play with. Play with the shades. Give me, I don't know, like we have this light, like very slightly gold. Give me something crazy. Throw some crazy colors in here. I don't care. Give me like some deeper purples. Give me more variation than what you have. But what you do have is nice. Is it the best palette I've ever used? No. Is it Kat Von D quality shadows? Mm-mm. But it's also not the worst I've ever used. Not by any means. So I like it. I'm glad I have it because it's something that I kind of coveted for a long time. I just don't know if I could recommend it. I'm trying to think. Like I don't know. Let's swatch some wet. Maybe that'll help. So I'm just going to use this Crown Brush Concealer brush, the C224 Oval Concealer. So I'm going to take the shade, let's take one of those glitter bomb shades. I'm going to take the shade Milky Way, which is right here. So I'm going to take it. Where's my Smashbox? I'm using Smashbox Primer Water. I got this in that Sephora Favorites kit. I'll link that review down below. Where are we going to swatch it now? We'll swatch it right here. And I think you can tell. Look, it becomes much more metallic. And like, we're comparing this shade and this shade. Here, I'll give you a swatch of Milky Way beside it. It does make it better. But still, they're just not the best. And while it isn't expensive, as I always say, you know, if you're not saving money if you're not getting as good a quality. So I don't think it's as good as quality as some of my high-end palettes, but I don't think it's terrible. I think if these shades really attract you, if you're looking at that and being like, oh, I love that, I think that you could be happy with it. And I think if you're like, there's no way I could ever justify spending $50 or $60 on a palette. Then, and like, you're not like a crazy makeup person like me and have 57 million palettes, this is a good palette. It's not the best. You know, and I'm sorry, I feel like I'm not being very definitive here, but I like it, and I like using it. They're all shimmery, and I mean, like, I don't think it looks too bad from where y'all are, but like in person, it's just like you have a lot of glitter on your eyes, and I do wish I had some matte shades. It's nice. It's just not. It's not my favorite. Let me know if you have any questions or comments or suggestions or anything. I'm sorry if y'all are like, you know, that you didn't really tell us to buy it or not. If I had the choice, if I in some way used up all of these shadows, I would not repurchase. I'll say that much. I wouldn't. I feel like if this was taken away from my collection, I wouldn't miss it. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching. It means the absolute world to me. It really does. I know I say that every time, but it does. And I hope you have an absolutely fabulous day, and I'll see you all real soon. Bye.